Hello everybody and welcome to Smell It Sunday here on Aromatically Speaking, my secondary channel where I go live most every Sunday and we get together and we talk about candles. We talk about... This was supposed to be instrumental and it's really making me crack up. We talk about Silent Night and the silly free stock music that YouTube offers the creators. Welcome everybody. I'm having a very difficult time taking myself seriously, but we got a lot to talk about today. I have a lot of stuff on my table here, and I figured, we'll just plow through as much stuff as we can. And hopefully we can get to all of it, but if not, we always got next week. I essentially have all of the candles that I'm going to be burning and going to be talking about now that, well, it's not December, that we're essentially into officially the Christmas season. That's right. Some of you guys have been waiting to get through Thanksgiving, and I understand, but I've been living Christmas for almost a month, if not more. But I am in full swing Christmas spirit mode. Let me pull you guys up. That's always the first thing to do. Gotta lower the volume so I don't listen to myself. And hello to everybody joining in, getting some notifications that I'm live. I know that I'm live. All right, so let's get started. First thing is, I should put this in the title. We have a giveaway winner to announce. It wasn't a huge giveaway. It wasn't like I was giving away prizes like on The Price is Right. But I had a very rare candle that I showed you on Monday called Song of Angels. And this thing goes for like $100 on average on eBay, even if it's like half burned. It was exclusively released for the South Deerfield, Massachusetts flagship store. But what we did is we had a little contest. I had you guys leave descriptions in the video, the live video from Monday, on what you're using your brain, your imagination, your brain, of course you're using your brain. Come up with your own Christmas, or excuse me, snow-themed candle descriptions. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you go to my main channel and check this video out in the descriptions, because you guys wrote some amazing stuff. From fragrance notes to essentially short stories to very descriptive, poetic descriptions. You guys really did a great job, and it was not an easy thing for me to pick a winner. Now, I'm just giving away a votive, but this really is, I'm telling you, if you want to buy the full candle, it's gonna cost you. And I know we don't. I was lucky enough to grab actually a couple of them, but I really wanted to give a couple of those. I have a couple of those votives. I want to burn one for you guys because I don't want to light my jars. But I figured I'd give one away since I had an extra, and I did pick a winner. We're also going to be looking at Yankee candles. It says in the headline, "Then and Now." What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to bring Yankee Candle Archives back. And if you don't know what that is, let me lower the camera a little bit. I get myself all worked up before I go live. And now I look like Gene Wilder again. We have essentially, well, let me just show you. We have, this is a brand new release. This is a 2018 pour of the very famous French Vanilla by Yankee Candle, right? Always a big topic that I try to bring up in conversation, something that I was really trying to bring everyone's attention to a while ago. I started this kind of segment called Yankee Candle Archives, where I would pick retired fragrances, talk about them, But what I really wanted to do was take ones that were poured today and then contrast them with, say, this one right here. Bam, look at that. French vanilla. That is a 1980s candle right there. That is going to be vintage Yankee candle, and look how well that's held up. The color. The color is a bit beige, but it's homogeneous. It's not like spotted or anything like that. So what I'll do is I have a few of these Christmas fragrances. This isn't necessarily a Christmas fragrance, but I have some classic Yankee Candle Christmas fragrances. We're gonna smell them now versus them old. See how they age? Do they age? Do they age like a fine wine, or do they age like a really cheap wine? Or if they do age well, or if they don't age at all, but necessarily, let's say like one is more, the older one is more complex, like, because it's always a topic, right? Were they made better back in the day versus what they make today? Have the recipes changed, the strength, all that good stuff? Now again, I'm going on cold sniff, guys. That's what I do. I know a lot of you guys are requesting that I burn and do, you know, share my thoughts on scent throw and stuff like that, but that's not my expertise. I'm telling you what I smell on cold sniff. One of these days we'll get to that. Let's address everybody that's in the room, in the house. Stephanie Hall is in the house, and I received something from Stephanie Hall. I've already opened it, Stephanie. I hope you don't mind, but I want to give you a big shout out for my Thanksgiving Day card, even though I'm sharing it a little bit late. Just wanted to read this because it was actually kind of funny. It says, how to roast a turkey. Now everyone hang in there, because we're going to be talking about candles in a second, but come on. You got this mid-century housewife, and she's telling us how to roast a turkey. And there's 10 steps, apparently. Defrost turkey, drink a glass of wine. Place turkey in oven, drink another glass of wine. Preheat the preheat the degree at 400 ovens. Drink 2 more glasses of wines. Roast the wine for 4 hours. Glass yourself a wine of pour. Tuff the turkey. Bless the meal and call a cab. I actually had myself a good chuckle, and Stephanie also shared some very nice words in there. So thank you, Stephanie, for the cards. And everybody else, you know, I got a bunch of Halloween cards, and I got, I think Thanksgiving. And I want to make sure that you guys know that if I don't, you know, share on the live, that I do see everything and I save everything. I actually have like a whole huge Yankee Candle bag of all my cards that I've received from you guys. So thank you, Stephanie. And a quick update. I don't see anybody. Just in case they watch it later, those of you who are a part of the subscription box, the Candle Enthusiast subscription box, and if you don't know what that's all about, make sure you check out patreon.com. The link is going to be in the description below. Patreon.com/The Candle Enthusiast. That's right, I do put together my own subscription box every month, and November was one of the easiest to assemble, and yet it was the hardest to get out, because I don't make candles, right? I have to acquire candles from all different places and accessories and goodies, and I try to find little knickknacks that are one of a kind when I travel, and I load up this box and I send it to you. It just took an extra long time for me to get that out. The good news is there is still plenty of openings. Well, for those who are members already, you're going to be getting your subscription box for November very, very soon. I've essentially 2 weeks late, but the Christmas box to make up for it, the December box, the Christmas box, the holiday box will go out the first week. So there you go. And anyone who still wants to get in on the Christmas box, there's some options, and there's different kind of package deals with the subscription boxes, and of course all of the funds go right back into the channel as always. And I see a comment with the mug. Can I read it backwards? What does it say? How'd you get so good at being bad? Says Garfield the cat. I like it. All right, let's talk about candles, guys. So, first, before we jump into Yankee candles, let's take a look at some small production and some luxury candles. How does that sound? Luxury candles. You know what? Let's do the luxury candles first. Since, God, I feel like we talk about it every live, but it just always comes up, and it was really the genesis of this channel. So, those very, very early episodes, my main channel, the Candle Enthusiast, the Norman Rockwell experience, that was like an hour-long vlog that I did. And I will be doing more of those. We talked about, and I shared with you how I went back to the Red Lion Inn. But if you watch that video, right in the middle, I did a candle evaluation in a bathrobe, sitting by the fire. It was kind of silly. The last minute, I was going to cut it out of the video because I'm like, how can I possibly post this publicly on the internet? Because it looked like a lunatic. I'm wearing like Argyle socks and a white puffy bathrobe, sitting by the fire, evaluating a candle. But here's a little proof that time, patience, work, it all pays off, right? Because the candle I was evaluating was one of my favorite candles. It's a long story, and one day I'll share it with you how I actually came to find the company and that particular fragrance. It was Teak by Votivo, and I've always given it the nickname, just because I think it's hilarious, Johnny Depp's closet. It's because it's what I would imagine his closet smelling like, meaning like not only all the fashionable stuff or maybe the cologne that he wears, but also all of the different characters that he's played. There's something, especially Jack Sparrow. And not too long ago, really, I've never done any other video other than one short one in California on Votivo. Votivo reached out to me and they said, we loved your video, and they sent me Teak. My favorite Votivo candle. If you don't know Votivo, this is a legit, what I would call a luxury candle company. They make really, really high quality fragrances. And yes, they do come at a cost, but let me tell you, if you've ever splurged on a bottle of wine, think of Votivo being that fine wine. You burn it on a special occasion. And they not only sent me this, I don't want to say sample, I guess this is, what is this, 2 ounces? Antique. They sent me the standard size, which is 6.8 ounces. And they come in these beautiful little packages, boxes, I should say. You can see I haven't even taken that out yet. Woo! Woo! And now remember, they saw the video and they said they're going to send me my favorite scent. And then if that wasn't enough, they sent me the monster. To give you a little comparison, look at this. I didn't even know Votivo made candles this size. And honestly, I'm afraid to even look at how much this would cost. So I want to give them a huge shout out, and I will be producing a video on these. And they sent me some of their Christmas. I'll just give you a little sneak peek of their Christmas holiday collection, but I actually have my own collection. So I am going to do a video exclusively for Votivo, non-sponsored, not being paid to say any of the things I'm going to say, but you can trust me that all the things I'm going to say are going to be pretty darn good, because I've never had anything but incredible success with these candles. And if you haven't seen what the actual vessel looks like, make sure you check out that Norman Rockwell Experience video, or I break it down. And they're actually starting to put the fragrance notes on the labels now. So I'm kind of happy to see that I was actually mostly right with the description. But their holiday collection, now check this out. I remember being in a Christmas store in Burbank. In fact, if you look at one of my early videos, you find me and my sister-in-law, we were evaluating some of these candles, and we were doing it in store because we couldn't afford them. I mean, obviously, you know, we were actually considering pooling our money, my brother, my sister-in-law, and myself, to get one candle to burn for Thanksgiving. But that I had already been introduced to Votivo at that time, and I eventually started buying one here and there. But this is their holiday collection, and it's gonna be really hard for me to get that. There it is. Can you see it? It's not icy blue spruce like Yankee Candle. It's icy blue pine, and this has been a fragrance of theirs for at least 5 years. And if it's been longer, Votivo, I apologize, but I've known this candle for about 5 years. But look at the packaging here. You know how I feel about packaging. Are you paying a little bit extra for the packaging? Yes, you are, but is it worth it? In my opinion, yes, it is. And I cannot tell you, this is the full Christmas tree, or not even Christmas tree. This is the full Christmas tree outdoor in the forest experience. There's everything in here, and it's at such high intensity. In fact, I had to cover these up. I had them on my shelves here, and even in the office here, I have, you know, over, you know, 450, 500 candles in this room. These were still overbearingly powerful. So I don't recommend holding on to these, saving these, collecting these. I recommend you take this, you light it, you burn it, you enjoy it. So I will be talking about Votivo coming up. And if you guys want to do me a huge favor, it's actually all of us, I'll be doing all of us a huge favor, is if you follow Votivo, trust me, there's not some kind of agenda here. I haven't spoken to them about promotions or sponsorships, anything like that. I swear to you, no sponsorships, no advertisements. But if you go to Votivo and you want to follow them on Instagram, just do me a huge favor. Just comment on one of their photos, something that looks good, and say, I found you guys from the Candle Enthusiast. Let them know I sent you their way. This way they will send more stuff. We can evaluate more stuff. We can do Votivo giveaways. I'll be happy to do that. I've given away a Votivo candle before. Honeysuckle, I believe. And here's just another one. Christmas Sage. This is incredible. I mean, these boxes are heavy duty stuff too. And they're wrapped so beautifully, so I have to kind of save that for the video because there's no way I'd be able to recreate that wrapping. Has anyone burned Votivo before? Oh, and Nancy's in the house. She's going, yay, subscription boxes. Yes, Nancy, I did not forget. And Laura says, hi, California, praying for you guys. I think I want to echo that statement, and hopefully it resonates. Everyone who is, you know, has been affected by natural disasters this year, these past couple years. So many of my friends, some of a lot of you guys, friends that I've never met before, but people that have been in my life, all my life, have been affected by wildfires and hurricanes, storms this year, past couple years. Even one of the places I used to live in Napa Valley was affected 2 years ago after having a pretty severe earthquake a couple of years prior to that. So yes, I'm a big heart and hug goes out to all of you folks. I just wish there was something more than I can do. All I can do really is try to offer a place for you to escape, and maybe create a few videos that'll put a smile on your face at the end of the day. But know that although some serious stuff going on in the world, and I may always look super happy and enthusiastic, that my heart bleeds for all of you guys out there. So, you know, hang in tight. And if anyone ever wants to reach me personally, you know how to do that. Email in the description. I would love to chat. And there's some of you that I need to get in contact with. I'm actually quite worried. All right. Votivo. Yeah, the teak one was the teak has always been my favorite, mainly because it was the first one I ever bought. It's this funny thing. I met this complete stranger. You know, I could write a short story about this. I met this complete stranger in Brooklyn. It was a couple days before Christmas, years ago. And, you know, we were having a conversation, and it's complicated. It was, I didn't know the person. It wasn't a friend. It wasn't a friend of a friend of a friend, but we met over, you know, a circumstance, and we had a conversation. And at that time, I was still kind of closed-mouthed about the fact that I was like this huge candle person, but I kind of leaked that, you know, I was interested in candles. And she didn't think it was strange at all. And she told me, have you ever heard of Votivo? And I'm like, a votive? And she's like, no, Votivo. And I'm like, no, is that a wine? It sounds like it would be a wine. It's like, no, you gotta check it out, Votivo, and the fragrance teak. And she said they call it their number 37 candle, and 37 is my lucky number. I don't really have lucky numbers per se, but 37 is just this number that is so eerily reoccurring. It reoccurs in my life all of the time. And so I had to get this candle, and I never ever spoke to that person again. I couldn't even tell you, you know, her name, to be honest with you. And it's kind of like there was something about that moment, about meeting a perfect stranger, sharing a passion about candles, and not being kind of feeling weird about it, because I was coming from the wine industry. I was so used to talking about wine, but here I was talking about candles, and she recommended this candle, and I bought the candle. I loved the candle, burned it, and I loved it, and I loved it. And I don't know, it was a very interesting, I don't know, for me it was an interesting story. But that essentially introduced me to Votivo, and I've been a huge fan ever since. But if you've seen one of my recent videos, wasn't recent. It feels recent, guys, but it's not. October for Halloween, I did a small micro batch candle company. Get Fictional. Get Fictional is a candle company that I reached out to a couple months ago, and I just love their artwork. I love their photography. I love the concepts. And although it's not like the only candle company out there doing it, they base all of their candle concepts on mainly literature, but any kind of fiction. It's called Get Fictional. And I reviewed one called Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Washington Irving's Sleepy Hollow, and we also did Friday the 13th, the film, Jason Voorhees, right? And nobody got the Easter egg in that video. Had Jason in the window. Nobody pointed that out. So maybe that'll make you go back and watch it. But anyway, one of you guys reached out to Get Fictional and said, I loved Shane's video. I would love to see Shane talk about your Christmas fragrances. Get Fictional contacted me and said, Shane, do you mind if we send you more candles for you to talk about? I'm like, of course, send them my way. I mean, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. It's really, December is going to be a very scary month for me. So trying to get all of these videos that I have done completed. This really is the first time I'm opening these up. I don't even know what I have here. They sent me these candles. Again, the candle company is Get Fictional. This one, we all know Krampus, right? Krampus, very popular name for kind of a spooky, I shouldn't say spooky, but I guess spooky, right? Krampus is essentially the antithesis of Santa Claus. And on the label it says, keep the fire hot. And there's the fragrance notes, but now remember, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do hopefully a full in-depth analysis of these. But just in case I don't get to it, I want to make sure that I show everything. I will eventually get to it. But, you know, if I post this like on the 20th of December, it's not gonna do much good for Get Fictional, right? Because they're not gonna be able to fulfill orders on the 20th of December. That is a really good candle. Really nice smell. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is, I'm sorry guys, I'm always saying it, but apple orchard. I mean, this is a big explosion of apples and spices. Now, you're not going to smell spices in the apple orchard, but again, this is, you know, poetically, you know, if you're thinking about that fantasy experience of walking through the apple orchard, you know, in your fantasies, there's always going to be cinnamon and clove floating through the air, allspice. But there's a distinct apple cider to this apple. I call that fermented apple. I don't know if that sounds gross. To me, that doesn't smell gross. Fermented apple smells amazing. And kind of like a, you know, roasted firewood. What do we have here? Roasted apples, not roasted firewood, but roasted apples, pine, and warm spices. Very autumn candle. But knowing that this is a Krampus concept, I could totally go there. And look at the label. It's really hard to see that. I understand this is not the best video quality, but we have this, what's a good way to say it? Well, I could tell you what the artwork looks like. It's done on, let's say, like black paper with white charcoal. It has a very early Walt Disney-esque, you know, really early, like we're talking late 20s, early 30s feel to it, like Silly Symphonies cartoon. Or you know what? I'll always go back to my fail-safe. Kind of looks like a less lush version of Narnia, right? When Lucy steps out from the wardrobe. So Krampus. Now, say if we compared that with something like Witch City Wicks Krampus. Witch City Wicks Krampus is a little bit more icy, a little bit, you know, if my memory serves me correctly, has a little bit more of a masculine, warm flannel smell, but also that icy blast. Just it's an excellent Witch City Wicks candle, and we have big Witch City Wicks news coming up very soon. I kind of left you guys out to dry with Witch City Wicks for Halloween, but it was something that Liz and I discussed that, because we were originally going to do a promotional code, a promo code, but with her extreme rate of selling out this year, there was no way that was ever going to happen. So we finally had a good chat. Well, we've chatted, but her time was limited in October. But we finally had a good chat and figured out what we're going to do to make up for it in the near future. So big Witch City Wicks news coming up. But let's look at these other Get Fictional candles. Now there's 4 of them. Let me just open up 2. And I'm trying to remember. Woo! Now this is interesting. Christmas Land. But what is going on? This is interesting. Okay, so we have Christmas Land. Now remember, these are 4-ounce jars. They do come in larger vessels. I think 6 and 9. Don't quote me on that. But on the label here, can you see those gingerbread men? They're out of focus, but they have vampire teeth. So are all of these kind of spooky, spooky Christmas, or a spooky take on Christmas candles? And Christmas Land. I wonder if that's in reference to... That's really nice. I wonder if that's in reference to, like, Nightmare for Christmas. It's the only thing I can think of that would mingle spooky and Christmas Land. So a very savory, not super spicy gingerbread. Now, like frosty gingerbread from Yankee Candle this year, very spicy. And not just high level of spice, but lots of different spices. Where here it's more of a spiced up, doughy savoriness. So to me, it's more bakery, more butter, more salt, more raw dough. This is really when you like underbake gingerbread cookies in a good way. I like them underbaked. I like them crispy on the outside, right? Like you know, nice golden brown edges. But I love it when they're soft and doughy. And that's what this smells like. It's sweetened up with like confectioner's sugar, not like something like a sweet vanilla or like a vanilla frosting. So I don't think any exotic spices. I would just say simply like ginger, ground ginger and cinnamon. It says gingerbread, hot spice, and tonka. And tonka is a big topic. I briefly talked about it last week, but just think you have to experience it for yourself. It's one of those things. It's very hard to explain, especially in its different forms. But tonka bean essentially works the same way as vanilla in the construction of a candle. It's going to serve as that base note. Very nice, very nice. Let me open up one more, because I don't think we got to the one that was requested. Because the viewer, whose name does escape me at the moment, I apologize. So if you're in the house, let me know. But yeah, like I said, a viewer contacted Get Fictional, said, please send Shane these candles. I was very honored to get that message from both Get Fictional and from the viewer. Wait a minute, that's the one I just opened. All right, guys, I'm getting there. Hang in there with me, all right? And see, all of them have these little stickers. This one says naughty or nice. You ever see the Tales from the Crypt? The very first episode of Tales from the Crypt, produced by HBO, would have been in the early 90s. Could have been 1989, but most likely it was the early 90s. The very first episode, directed by Robert Zemeckis, with great folks attached. It starred, I think her name was Laura Donner, which is Richard Donner, the great director's wife, and Larry Drake. Larry Drake, fantastic character actor. Mr. Giggles. For any of you slasher 80s fans out there. And then Dean Cundy, the director of photography for countless films. But what is going on? I feel like I'm losing my mind here. Thank you. Okay. So that very first episode, that very first episode of Tales from the Crypt is so awesome, and it was called All Through the House. You have to check that out. I'm sorry, my brain was going in 5 different places there. It is a really good short, and it's on iTunes. I think you can purchase it for $2.99. But this was the one I was looking for. I thought for a second that they were sending me doubles of the candles, but I was just reopening the same ones I was sealing. Dickens' Christmas, right here. And there's another Christmas carol, a Charles Dickens Christmas carol themed candle in these 4 candles, but I'll save that for the full video. On this label, we have some winter berries. We have some artistic renderings of a tree here. It's covered in snow. And I love the textural qualities of these labels. There's not a whole lot going on in these labels, but whoever the artist is, really interesting. It's like there's like spatter. You know, if you take paint, a little artist trick, if you take a toothbrush and you put a little paint on it and you flick the toothbrush onto the canvas, you get those little flecks. Drew Struzan, who does all those, you know, the great like Spielberg and Star Wars movie posters, it was one of the kind of techniques he always used to give it that textural quality. A lot of that stuff going on here on these labels. But Dickens' Christmas. Okay. Okay, so really dried out pine tree, right? The cedar, the split wood. I'm gonna say firewood, dried out firewood. But also some spices, some baking spices there. But going further, this is that balsam fir incense, those little log cabins that you get in the boutique stores. What are they called? Log cabins? But the little sticks, that they're compressed biomass. They're like balsam or Douglas fir, balsam fir, compressed biomass of essentially just dead, dried up trees. No smokiness, but this is what it smells like, those little sticks or those little cones, the incense, before you light them. It does create this very moody feeling The incense does kind of take you back. At least it does for me. With a little bit of, you know, of my own knowledge. I read Christmas Carol. I try to read it every year. Bringing me back to an older time, an older way of living. I like it. I like it. It's a very 1, 2, 3 kind of candle. There's not a lot going on. But it's very effective nonetheless. Spiced fruit. That's interesting. The fruit I would have to examine for a while. I definitely get the spice, fir needles, and soft amber. So that all makes sense to me. The fruit, I think it's just something that's not bright. So maybe I would say something like a spiced or baked pear. Spiced and baked pear. How's that sound? I think that sounds good to me. Let me just clear up some space here. Can I reach that? So Get Fictional, a huge shout out to Get Fictional. I will be getting to these videos. I'm gonna hopefully try to pump out so many because I am going to be outside a lot in December, but I need to get candle videos done. That wasn't the plan. These were already supposed to be done. But life happens. Pains of a Maine log cabin incense. Yes, Pains. Okay, I know what you're. Yes. That brand sounds familiar. You think I would know this by now? I carry them in my gift shops, says Nancy Sco. Very cool. Very cool. I could never burn anything like that when I was a kid. Because that would essentially kill my mother, sinus wise. But later on in life, I became interested, not only, and just recently, I think I was given actually my first little log cabin with the incense sticks. But it always reminded me of Lake George, New York. So another video that's coming up, and a company that I really want to. This I feel like this is what my whole mission has been about. There's other things I want to do with this channel, the Candle Enthusiast, but the mission was to give a voice to candle companies who are just not known, who are possibly not getting the attention that they deserve. And a long time ago I was introduced to a candle company. That's actually not a candle company. It's really primarily a soap company called Asia Luna. These folks are going to be based out of, depending on how you want to say it, they used to be based out of Stockbridge, same place as Norman Rockwell. But they actually are being produced in New York, but it's right on the border there. So right on the border of New York and Massachusetts. And they're using only essential oils. They make their own bar soaps. This one, they have proprietary names. This one is called, right there, if you can see there, Calypso. And we have candles from Asia Luna. I actually visited their studio and I filmed. It's a husband and wife operation, and they make everything themselves right in their own workshop out of their own home, and it was the most like endearing experience. And I think I filmed a really great video. I just need to, like everything else this year, I need to sit down with it and really massage that video and make sure that I cut together something that represents them, not only my experience, but represents them as a company. But make sure you look them up. They have dog shampoo for Elsa. They have dog shampoo for Elsa. They gave me all this stuff. And this is not why I did the video, for free stuff. I just wanted to go in and visit them. They have these amazing little, look at this. Look at this. It's a candle, right? But it's like Genie of the Lamp, right? You don't get 3 wishes, but you light the candle. And instead of soy wax or paraffin or anything like that, they're using a proprietary blend of like palm oil, coconut oil maybe, I'm trying to remember. There's got to be a wax to keep it all together, but it's a very soft wax. So when you light this, woo, highly fragrant, right? So you light this, and then you see that you pour it on your hand, and it's not scalding hot. I actually did this in the video, and you use it as like a moisturizer, and it is the most like decadent thing ever, because it is like explosively aromatic, but not like clawingly powerful or overbearing. And so I definitely want to demonstrate this in a separate video, but you'll probably see the video I cut visiting their shop first, where we demonstrated all of this. But they gave me all these goodies. They gave me stuff for my hair. That's right. Well, it's technically beard oil, but I was telling them how in the East Coast my hair is super dry. And I've done everything. I've done everything to make because in California I had this like flowing hair, and now I got the Willy Wonka syndrome. And not like the Johnny Depp kind. It's like the Gene Wilder kind. So I haven't put that to the test yet. What else did they give me? Mist spray with essential oil. So, you know, not ordinary, but your room sprays. And let me tell you, I would not be as excited. I would not have gone out of my way to visit these folks if I truly didn't believe in what they were doing. Everything I've smelled from them, oh my God. I mean, that is like pure sap. That is tree sap. And it is, because it's essential oil. It really is. It's a proprietary name, and it doesn't have notes on it. But this is like literally, if you walk up to that pine cone and you touch that white residue, that sticky stuff, right there. And it's a little bit smoky too. I don't know if it's because if I associate smokiness with that smells that I'm getting that, but I will be talking about Asia Luna. But find them, honestly, the best way to find them is just asialuna.com. And as always, let them know I sent you. But these people, these folks, they need more attention that they're getting, because it's a very small operation, and it's chapstick, by the way. They're making a whole selection. Essentially, they have their own Bath and Body Works in their house. That's what they have, and it's so intimate. And it's like, honestly, it's like the nicest couple I've ever met in my life. So a huge shout out to Asia Luna. Carol says, so what is Shane doing? Mail. So no, Carol, what I'm doing is I'm just showing you some of the candles that I will be evaluating for this month. I have a lot of pressure to get candle evaluations done, and at this point, I am so stressed out about it because I've been filming outside, not candle stuff, but I mean like going out and doing stuff that I haven't gotten to all the candles that I've wanted to evaluate. I have Homeworks candles. I have it's very special candles that I found that I'm super I think are super value driven, and I want to promote them to the world. Christmas candles, and I also have a Village candle. We have Colonial candle. I've showed you them, but I haven't really done in-depth evaluations of them. We talked about Votivo. We have Get Fictional. And we have more Witch City Wicks to talk about. We got big news from Witch City Wicks. And just because we have both Nikki and Leslie in the house, make sure, if you guys, you're both moderators, link yourselves up. Make sure you visit Nikki from Washington Wicks. It has, I just saw her Instagram photos, a beautiful selection of, you know, you gotta have a little bit of a spooky Christmas, but spooky in a kind of a goth way, gothic way. Hopefully, let's say elegantly gothic. I've said that a couple times before, but I think that's a great way of putting it. And I think we all of us, at a certain point during the Christmas season, we have those moments where we want a little something spooky for Christmas. I think that's why I like the Christmas Carol so much, because it's always a little bit spooky. But also Leslie, just if I'm not mistaken, just launched her Christmas candles on her Etsy page as well. But please make sure you link yourselves up, or just at least let people know where to find you. You're both moderators, so you should be able to post the links in the comments section. And I love those ladies, by the way. All right, so let's do some Yankee Candle. And then we still have the giveaway. I want to reminder, I'm going to save this for the end. I'm going to give this away to the winner, the person I chose. Well, not the person I chose, but the description that I chose for last week's giveaway. Spooky works year-round, says Stephanie Hall. All right, this is making me a little nervous. Let's start with the Yankee Candle Classic. Then and Now. Why is it making me nervous? Because I actually have to... Again, I want to test this out. Let me know if you guys like this concept in the comments below. Not in the chat section, but in the comments below. If you're watching this later, if you come back to this video later, let me know if you like this, because I think this is a great idea for a segment. But it's actually, you know, it can be costly. I have a lot of vintage Yankee candles, but I don't have hundreds. You know, I have a very good selection, my favorites. But essentially what I'm going to do is I have, which is pretty old. This one is a 2014, but it is the classic Yankee Candle Christmas fragrance. Yankee Candle's most popular fragrance of all time. And what's amazing about that, I've said this before, is that this candle does not even span the timeline of half the company's history. You know, some of the fragrances, like this French Vanilla, for example, this is one, that one's been around for 10 years longer than this one. Balsam and Cedar, this has become probably the most well-known scented candle in the world. I mean, is that safe to say? And then contrasting that, we have, now it's very loose. I cannot pinpoint an exact date on this, but by different little key features on the sticker, got the UPC code on the bottom. We see the, our strongest scented candle. That's gonna let me know, that little extra line there, that this is more of a late 90s, possibly an early 2000s balsam and cedar. But it can't be in early 90s because this came out much later on. So most likely, let's say 2000, let's split the difference. Year 2000 versus a 14-year-old or 14-year-older balsam and cedar. And then I have a candle that preceded balsam and cedar. Didn't sell as well, and it didn't hold up as long. Meaning it does not age as well. Well, I don't know. Let me smell it again. But before there was balsam and cedar, there was balsam fir. Now, Yankee Candle has released balsam and fir in limited edition formats, different fragrance. So let me smell. Let's start with the new 2014. I gotta be easy with this one. No kidding. I mean, this one's new. Every time I light this, this is a candle that it is dear to my heart, and I love it to death. I would buy 50 of them if I could. I don't know why I would want 50. But I recommend everybody have one who's a candle lover. Let's put it that way. But it is simply so strong, and I've never lived, even in this beautiful, lofty house in Napa Valley. I shared it with 3 roommates. It's a beautiful house, but it was huge, huge ceilings. This candle would really smoke us out. Not smoke us out. It was actually very pleasant, but I was just astonished that I could smell this candle from my bedroom upstairs when this thing was burning downstairs in the kitchen. And when I moved into a smaller apartment in Napa Valley, it was right after that. Beautiful apartment, but it was small. It was just myself. I couldn't even keep it lit. I couldn't even keep it lit because it was so powerful. But a super sweet balsam smell, really rich, robust wood, brightened up with all of those lovely eucalyptus, citrusy notes that we're always talking about. Very herbal, thyme, sage. But how does, let's say, the 2000 version of balsam and cedar, and we can see we have the black bands. If anyone can get more specific by the information on the bottom, you're not going to be able to read that. But I know this was released, I think it was it 1997? Balsam and Cedar was released? I can't remember now. Yeah. This is going to be the same thing as mistletoe. So I might as well combine the two. I have a 2014. Okay, great. So this is perfect. The years are lining up. And probably a 2000 mistletoe. Yankee Candles, then and now. I'm going to do the little sniff test. Oh yeah, God. Every time I smell this one, I'm reminded how much this is my favorite Yankee Candle Christmas fragrance. Although, I always end up saying differently. I just have so many that are my favorite. But then, if I go to the black band mistletoe, let's say 14 years older, there's something going on here. I've had a lot of success with Yankee candles aging. The shelf life of the candles, some of the candles that I own are extraordinary. They hold up. Not only that, but I feel like they're still complex, even more complex in some of the maybe the current versions that are released today. But there's something about the pine, balsam, fir, mistletoe candle that just, it hits a point, and it's like a fine wine. I don't know if it ever really peaks with age, but there's a point where there is a decline. And a lot of people will be like, oh, so it goes bad, like it goes sour on it. It's not necessarily a bad smell, but you can tell that there is a perishable quality to this candle. It's still incredibly fragrant. It just has a little bit, now hear me out, musty, not musk, not with the K, but with the T, this musty thing happening. You know, and a lot of people I know would be turned off by that, but it's really something worth experiencing. And because I need balsam, this is the old balsam and cedar. I mean, this is really more of a display piece. I would never burn it. And I have a couple of mistletoes, because like I said, this is my favorite, but both of these have changed in time. Now, in contrast, but before we contrast that, let's just smell this balsam fir real quick. Let's see if this is the same story here. Now, I don't have a contemporary version of this because this hasn't been made since it's been retired. Yeah, this is perhaps showing more age than the mistletoe and the balsam and cedar. It's such a shame. You would think that this would be like witch's brew and last forever and ever. That's sadly just not the case with this. It has something was growing in this candle at some point. And the effect is it smells really plasticky. It's such a shame, but beautiful. Beautiful pieces. I would never light it anyway. But if anyone wants to know, balsam and cedar, yeah, it's not an old candle because balsam and fir really was, I guess, the original. I mean, it looks pretty darn similar, doesn't it? Might even be the same label. Now, on the flip side to that, we have, this was the actual candle that I brought with me to Santa's Village in 2016, and I haven't lit it since. Maybe I have. No, I take that back because, oh, yes, I love this candle. This candle is like cherry, Pepsi, or Coca-Cola. And what I love about that is you got that old-fashioned Santa Claus on there, just like the classic Coca-Cola commercials. Santa floating over that beautiful hamlet. You see the steeple, the little town down there. You see there? You got that old-timey photo. And Santa's got a little, I don't know, what is he? Is he whipping? Is he whipping the Donner and Blitzen with his little winterberry stick? But he's got a sleigh full of toys, and there's clouds and the setting moon or the rising moon. But this is a big, fruit-forward, juicy, and Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, there's a cola element to this candle. A lot of people just say, This is kind of like a rehash of Yankee Candle's Sugar Plums, and it does smell very much like Sugar Plums, and then, or Sugar Plum Candle. And then last year, Pepperberry and Spruce had this was very reminiscent. But this is a 2012, so this one's pretty old, and this one's holding up like a champ. Christmas Eve, and that is, this has had several different labels, and of course this is the current label, but it's been squeezed down quite a bit, and the candle still smells outrageously delicious, or let's say maybe not delicious, but delicious. I would drink it. But here is the black band of Christmas Eve. And we have a Santa on his sleigh here. Kind of funny. Which label do you like better? Do you like the classic painting? Like almost like the Thomas, it's not Thomas Kincaid. I'm trying to think of an artist who paints like that. Versus this is a real photograph of a real Santa. And honestly, I've always wondered, and one day I'll find out. The Santa, for kids watching, Santa Claus at the village. When you meet Santa Claus at the Santa Claus Yankee Candle Village, that's him. That's the guy. This isn't some imposter. This looks like the guy that you meet at the Yankee Candle Village in South Deerfield, Massachusetts. The guy being Santa Claus, of course. But I've never been able to confirm that, but it really, really looks like the gentleman, Santa Claus. And this one is just, it is not as strong. I think maybe it's because it's aged, but it's more complex. It's more layered. So I know in the fragrance notes, it talks about pralines and nuttiness and some spices. This is not like a cinnamon stick here at all. But there's a little bit of warmth in here. Like, just imagine like cedar and cinnamon. This kind of layer of cedar and cinnamon that hits you on the back side when you smell this candle. And of course, when you burn this, I think, that it shows itself more. But I think this is a total confirmation of a candle that has aged or has changed through time. I don't know if this is less intense, but you have to keep in mind that this could be 15 years older. So I don't know if it's less intense because of age, or if it was just by its very nature less intense. Where this one is more juicy, more fruit forward, and more of that Coca-Cola classic, baby. I'm telling you, if you have this candle, smell it. And tell me you don't smell Dr. Pepper, or at least cherry cola. Very cool. What are you saying down here? I like the label with the whole scene. It says Horror Queen. Yeah, I have to kind of agree. I love black bands. And the one I'm going to show you now is, I think, a really good example of, I always say hypothetically, if I ever sit down, well, it might happen one day, who knows. If I ever sit down with Yankee Candle at a boardroom meeting, I'm going to compose 10 questions for them, if they allow me to ask. And one of those questions, well, it's not going to be really a question, it's going to be more of a why don't you kind of thing. I would love to see Yankee Candle put together a coffee table book. I don't mean like something like this, right, that you buy in the bargain section. of Barnes and Noble. I mean, a high quality, high resolution, high scan coffee table book chronicling all of the labels of Yankee Candle throughout the years, all of the many different shapes and forms and transitions, but also giving us information to know when that candle was released, when it was introduced, when it was retired, if there was any, this one candle was inspired by something, a little bit of context behind those candles. I think it's a huge, huge thing. Like, I don't know about you, but if I walked into a Yankee Candle and they had like the history of Yankee Candle in the form of a coffee table book, like a picture book, man, that would be something I would eat up in a second. I'd spend big bucks on something like that. And of course, you could call it the 21st century. The 21st century Yankee history of Yankee Candle. And Rianne's leaving. Rianne, thank you so much. It is your bedtime. Okay, so let's do one more of these Yankee Candles then and now. The French vanilla I showed you. Let's talk about the French vanilla real quick. French vanilla 2018. This is the best example I have. But I'm hopefully going to be doing videos on these, so I don't want to like... I mean, it's classic. It's not bombastic. It's not outrageous. On cold sniff, it really is, especially smelling all these pine candles in front of me. It seems very milky. It smells like vanilla ice cream, you know, like Breyers or, I don't know, well, let's say vanilla bean ice cream. I was going to say Friendly's ice cream. Try to go in a nostalgic direction. But definitely a vanilla bean, ice cream forward smell. And the thing is, on the label, which has always been interesting, you got the French vanilla waffle cone. And I can see it, but my mind wants to go to the ice cream first before I get to the French vanilla waffle cone. But I as simple as that is, French vanilla waffle cone, vanilla, I love it. I love it. So this had to be a part of my collection. This is never burned 1980s Yankee Candle. Wick looks like it has been trimmed at some point, but never lit. And you would think, because of the low intensity of this candle, that this thing would fade away in like a year. But as I've showed you before, I have the same thing with Christmas cookies. I have one that's contemporary, like the past couple of years. I have one that's from 2008. I have one that's from 2000. And then I have one that's from maybe 1997, 1998. I think it came out in 1997. But that candle, you would think it would not last. It would not have the shelf life, the staying power, where although I smell a little bit of age on this candle, that's perfectly normal. I mean, it could just be what's on the glass. I mean, this is just a jar after all. But there's no question that I'm smelling a very, very distinct French vanilla waffle cone, a little bit more of the waffle cone, actually, but also that French vanilla soft serve ice cream. So we're talking about a candle that could be 25 to 30 years old, still holding up, and to begin with, a very low intensity candle. So can vintage Yankee candles hang on? Yes, it just depends on which fragrance. Is there a guide to this? Is there rules to figure out which ones age and which ones do not? No, it's trial and error. You have to buy them, you have to smell them yourself, but I usually buy them for display purposes anyway. Gingerbread. Gingerbread you know, I think we were all sad to see this one go, but then it did pop up last year. They must have done a big pour of gingerbread because it popped up in 2 big tumblers. And this label was, I think, this particular label with the house was introduced in 2008. 2008 or 2009. This one is a 2013, but this one, not lit, incredibly strong. So if you need your baking spice, you know, like you just threw a little cherry bomb inside your grandma's baking spice cabinet, little pantry, right? You throw that cherry bomb in there, kablooey, right? Baking spice explosion. And you know, I don't even want to say that because when you say baking spice cabinet or pantry, there's that association with, you know, the spices being expired, being old. You know, ground spices should be used within, you know, as soon as possible. And I think we all are guilty of having like McCormick's spices in our cabinet that's probably been there for quite a few years. But there was a fantastic place. I'm trying to think of the name of the vendor. It was a vendor in Napa Valley, but there's also a vendor, a vendor of spices in Salem, down on the Pickering Wharf. Any of you Salem people, check that gentleman out. I met him. I can't remember. It might just be called Salem Spice. But anyway, in Napa Valley, they would essentially you walk around and they have all these different varieties of the same spices. You know, if you wanted a salt, if you wanted like a coarse sea salt, you had a choice of like 10 different sea salts, and salt in general you had like 30 choices. So I would spend all day just standing there smelling all of their spices, and they could grind them for you whole if they had the capability of doing so. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this really does smell like super fresh ground baking spices. And if you are that lover of chai masala, chai spice, bango. That was Yankee Candle's like secret weapon, I think, with this candle. You know, before it was, you know, before the masses of the U.S. could define what chai tea was, they were using all of these wonderful exotic spices, not just ginger in that candle. So that was a 2013. We had the gingerbread house. And then this one is a I don't know. Can't tell. It looks a little bit older. You can see there's a little bit of discoloration on that lid there. It's making me feel like it's at least late 90s. But again, I can't. One of these days I'm going to learn how to read those barcodes. But until then, let's just say late 90s. But on this label here, we have the little gingerbread people. We got gingerbread angels. We got gingerbread man. We got little gingerbread with fancy hairdo, little gingerbread baby up there. And in the background, there are going to be presents and ribbons and bows. And let's get a color comparison here. Got a much richer, almost like spiced pumpkin color here on the black band. Let's see how well this one holds up to not so, I mean, this is pretty old itself. 5-year-old gingerbread candle. It's been a long time since I've done this. Not smelled a candle, but compared them. I mean, this is hardcore. This is hardcore. I think this is, I really am going to be echoing the same thing I said on the Christmas Eve, that you see, you know, a tweaking from here to here. There's every chance in the world that the reason why these smell differently is because this one is simply older. But to me, if that's not the case, and if it's a recipe change, what they essentially did was this became more spicy, more of those exotic spices, and more savory, right? Savory. Like, when you smell this, your mouth might even water a little bit because you smell like butter and salt and doughiness. You smell the warmth and maybe the hot beverage that you're going to drink alongside of it. Where this one, it's really not so much about the pastry as much as it is about the spices and the dry ingredients. The dry ingredients, the all-purpose flour, all of the ground spices, but not that savory, buttery, salty. And a little bit more of a cinnamon forward, and versus like the star anise and the cardamom that's going on here, or coriander. This is a little bit more cinnamon forward, but definitely ginger, and definitely a ground ginger, not like fresh ginger, not like pickled ginger. This is your gingerbread cookie, and instead of the buttery salty, a little bit more of that vanilla, that like vanilla ice cream, which makes perfect sense because we have that piping, that icing on the gingerbread cookies. But this one has been lit, and very poorly. This was not me. I actually purchased this from a reputable seller, but obviously the person burning it really did a nasty job on that wick. So one day I'll have to fix it, meaning I'll have to light it. So we'll put that to the test. Maybe we'll do that for the first Yankee Candle archive video. I definitely want to do this. I want to start going through all of my black bands and showing you not only the different labels throughout the years, but how the fragrances have changed, or how they've evolved, if they've gotten better, if they've gotten worse. I'm looking at a 30-year-old baby powder that smells like it was poured yesterday. I have an 11-year-old berry crumble right there that smells like it was poured yesterday. Cranberry peppermint candle. Should I show you this? I'm going to show you this. I want to show you this. I've been waiting all year to show you this. This is a black band candle, but it's not. It's not a black band candle. And apparently they did not think that this was going to be around too long, because it says limited time only. And actually says that right on the label, limited time only. I've only seen that twice. It was on this candle, and it was on the Fireside candle. But black band, but not. I introduce you to the Candy Cane Band Yankee Candle Cranberry Peppermint. Oh, good God. And I can tell you right away, oh yes. Oh yes. Maybe it doesn't smell like it was poured yesterday. But that is big time cranberry, and if anything, I feel like it's more peppermint. Peppermint swirl candy cane action than the returning favorite that we saw last year. I would love to have one of those that's brand new. I'm never gonna light that, but if I had one that wasn't brand new, I would love to light that to see how that would perform. I think it's time we give away the Song of the Angels. Those of you who are still with me, thank you for hanging out with me this Sunday afternoon, everybody. And if I missed anyone's comments, what I have been doing, There's Gene Wilder hair on that gingerbread guy on the label. I go through the comments after the live, now that YouTube allows that. But if you're still with me, please remember to hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not for any reason subscribed to my main channel, the Candle Enthusiast, go on over and hit that subscription button. I'm working my butt off, guys. It doesn't look like it because videos are not being posted, but it's just 3 years in a row now, bitten off more than I can chew. It's more important to me that I get the footage captured and edit. Worry about edit later. But I will have Christmas stuff coming up very soon. It's gonna be one of those years where I'm gonna be like it's gonna be like Christmas Day, and I'm still gonna be posting Christmas videos. Where the goal this year was to have all of my Christmas stuff posted by the first week of December. And it's funny how things just don't work out that way. But, you know, there's another year, and I'll do my best next year to do bigger and better stuff and to edit more efficiently. Laura says, I love your archive idea. I got a few that need to be archived. That's great. Yeah. By all means, a great way to share things with me. If you're not on Instagram, or if you are on Instagram, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Just tag me in your pictures of your Yankee candles. I'd love to see everything that you have, or you can just send it directly to me. All right, so Song of the Angels. Just as a reminder, can you believe I have an angels section in my collection here? That's my angels section. Again, this was an exclusive for Yankee Candle at the Yankee Candle Village flagship store. It may have popped up in retail. Laura, do you know Marshmallow Zap? Do you know if Song of the Angels, if it appeared in retail at any point? I know that it had the classic label at some point, but which leads me to believe that it was released on more than 1 year. But I think most likely it was released probably 1 year at South Deerfield, but they probably had a bunch of them, so they probably put them out for several consecutive years. So people thought that they kept releasing it, but they really only probably poured it once. But I don't know. There needs to be a Yankee Candle historian. Someone's talking about Mickey Mouse. It's my gotta get him. I gotta get Minnie. Leslie's saying, it's okay, Shane, please don't stress. You do what you can do. Well, thank you very much. And this really means a lot. Carol goes, Shane, content is great, but we want you to enjoy Christmas and relax. We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. Once I get through the next couple of weeks, it's going to be me, coffee, and my computer and my hard drives editing. And once I know all that footage is captured or photographed, it's clear sailing. If I can watch Christmas specials, edit, and drink coffee at the same time, I can enjoy Christmas. So it's just a matter of getting out there and getting all the footage. Then I can start piecing together things. But I have all these candle companies kind of like, where's my video? Where's my video? Not that they're paying me. And not just candle companies, but I've worked with wonderful people. I did this, I have a bakery, a New England bakery video coming out. Wonderful, wonderful, one of the best bakeries I've ever been to as far as products are concerned. and I was supposed to have it done by Thanksgiving, and look, it's past Thanksgiving, and I still don't have it done. All right, so the giveaway consisted of what I wanted you to use your imagination to create your best idea for a snow-themed candle. Now, I told you you could use fragrance notes. I told you you could use a little, poem or description, or how it made you feel. You could describe it to me emotionally. You could describe it to me literally. You could do both. And I read through all of them, and I was actually really happy to see that you guys participated, because you guys are very creative, and some of you are quite funny as well. Some tongue-in-cheek things I see happening in here. But I had to go with my visceral reaction, my gut reaction with this one. As soon as I read the name of this description, I'm like, oh man, that's kind of nice. I really like the sound of it. And then I started reading the description and the fragrance notes. And then I found out that the person is actually from the place stated for, in the name of the candle. So I'm gonna introduce, again, it's a very modest little giveaway, but this little candle, Song of Angels, is going to Germany, to Uda Slim. Uda Slim, 4 days ago, posted Snow White Black Forest. I love it. I love it. I'm not sure if she's referring to Snow White as in the character. It doesn't matter. Snow White, Black Forest. I love just that really strong contrast of ideas. Again, you're dealing with this bright, fluffy, fantasy, white, winter wonderland, Snow White, and Black Forest, something gloomy, dark. And you put them together and you have this collision, this image in my head of this fantasy forest covered, if you've ever seen photographs, I've never had the honor or the privilege to be able to go to Germany, but to visit the actual Black Forest. I mean, there's Black Forest in every fairy tales that you read, but if you think about like the Grimm brothers fairy tales, all these images pop up in my mind, and honestly, a lot of those images don't involve snow. So adding snow to that image of the Black Forest, whether it be very green vegetation or very shady portion of the forest, or literally a black, gloomy Tim Burton-like forest, adding snow to that environment sounds so romantic to me. It's just, to me, solitude. I love it. And so Snow White, Black Forest, fragrance notes, pine needles, oak, beech. I love that. Not beach as in like the coast, but beech, two E's, the wood, the tree. Frozen cranberries, sweet moss. I love it. I love the adjective sweet before moss. It's good marketing right there. Sweet moss, golden amber, and cool air. And there's even a description of the label. You can see the wonderful dark, snow-covered Black Forest from above. It's a bright, cold winter's day with a blue sky. The wax color is white. Greetings from Germany. So the Black Forest and southwestern Germany. One day I'll get there. But Uda, I want to send this to you. I gotta get back to the comment section. Is she with us? She was earlier. She's here. Uda's, oh my God, thank you so much. You're very welcome, Uda. And again, everyone who wrote a description, I highly recommend everyone go and check out we could create our own candle company with all the descriptions that you guys came up with. But that one struck me right kind of in the funny bone, or pulled at the heartstrings for several different reasons. Because I love fairy tales, I love Germany, I love German wine, I love the Grimm brothers, I love the idea of visiting the Black Forest and history. I love, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then the contrast, Snow White, Black Forest. I think that's a candle that should be made. I think we should send postcards to Yankee Candle, let them know to make that happen. So, Uda, this is what you do. Write me an email at candleenthusiast@yahoo.com. Candle Enthusiast, one word, @yahoo.com, and just say, hey, it's Uda. I won. And just give me an address and give me a little bit of time, and I will be. This will be making its voyage all the way abroad to you, so you can enjoy Song of Angels this winter season. And thank you everyone for participating, and really, great job with everyone's descriptions. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Makes me want to do it again. So, give you guys a second to throw any questions you might have at me. If you've asked it already, ask it again. But I'm going to start to wrap things up here a little bit. What do we need to talk about? Which City Wicks? I know I've said it several times, but I want to make sure that it's very clear. Liz and I from Which City Wicks we had to pull the plug on a couple things that we were working on. And it looks as though things are good to go. So right now, she's got a great sale going on. Again, this is not sponsored at all. She had a Black Friday and a Cyber Monday sale. So I don't know if that means it lasts all weekend, but there's, I think, 20% off a lot of stuff. So make sure you swing over to whichcitywicks.com to get 20% off. I think it's 20%, at least on certain products. And then big news, promotional code exclusive to the Candle Enthusiast, but there is going to be more to that. There's going to be a bigger incentive to use that promo code coming up. So just keep your eyes peeled, your ear cupped, whatever you call that movement. Or if you're not a part, I say this all the time, guys, but I mean, if you're not a part of the Candle Enthusiast Facebook fan group, get on over there. Everybody has a Facebook profile. You don't have to turn the notifications on if you don't want to be getting hundreds of notifications. But the best way at this point to stay up to date with what I'm doing and to make sure that you don't miss out on things like promotional codes for Kindle companies is to be a part of that Facebook group. So just put in a request. The moderators will make sure that you're not a weirdo. I'm sure you're not a weirdo. I'm sure you'll be welcome to the family. And we don't just talk about candles over there. And it's not created by me. It's created by Rachel and all of the moderators who dump in tons of work to keep that thing running. And I'm just honored, and a little bit, it's kind of surreal to have a fan group based on my channel. But really, it's not about me at all. It's just about all of the many things that we're interested in. So get on over there, but also follow me on Instagram too, because I'm always putting little Easter eggs in there, or I'm going to be putting more Easter eggs in there. So this way you guys might have a heads up to some of the surprises that are coming up down the road. So Uda, make sure you send me that email so I can send you this votive song of the angels. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. If you want to help, we can't do super chat until we get 1,000 subscribers on this channel, but if you want to help donate to keep this channel that travels mainly going, make sure you check out the description below and all the ways you can help donate. A direct donation, like become a Patreon member, yeah, maybe one day we'll have super chats on this channel as well. And look at this, 37 people watching right now, my lucky number. So I want to see 37 thumbs up. Make sure you hit up that thumbs up button, and I will see you guys all soon. Let me check the questions. My favorite soundtrack is Mary Poppins Nightmare Before Christmas. I have both right now. I actually listened to both of them on my cool hi-fi. I got this. I'll have to show it to you one day. It used to be here, but I had to move it when I expanded the office. But this beautiful jukebox that was handmade, and it's got a record player in it, and it still sings like a bird. And I was listening to that before Christmas on LP, and my Mary Poppins soundtrack, which is a little bit scratched up. Stephanie says that contest was fun. You should do another one. We'll certainly be doing more contests, and hopefully, you know, we'll get to a point one day where I'll be sending more than they're just voters. But I did a lot of just U.S. giveaways this year, so I wanted to make sure that I did an international one as well. So everyone have a great Sunday. Make sure you come back and leave a comment if you have any questions, and I will see you guys probably throughout the week. Make sure you subscribe because there will be spontaneous live videos. Everyone have a great day. I'm signing out. Shane Carlson from Aromatically Speaking. I never do that, but I just did it, so have a great one, guys.